guys, check out another amazing clip when Kenny interviewed Steve Morris.
Think about it. If you brought one person in a month, say you got good at this. A lot of people in the business, the good ones, over 20%, they know how to take listings and they know how many they've got to get to pay the bills. They know how many sales they've got to make to pay the bills. They know that. They get good at those two things. What happens if you got good at sponsoring? What happens if you say, the average agent has a hard time putting one deal a month together to make it all work. In fact, on the low side, it's about $38,000 a year, and from that point up. But there's a lot of people not making that kind of money. So you're sitting there saying, what happens if you really got good at this? You brought in one person a month. Well, if it was one person a month, and you're dealing with people roughly your age and so on and so forth, imagine a dozen people brought in, whether it was $250,000 of cash flow times 12. You can make over $3 million in a year doing that. But think about what you have to do to make $3 million a year selling real estate. You sit there and say, you take listings, make sales to pay your bills. You sponsor people to create a future. Literally, real estate, the way it's designed and it has been tailored since, like I say, way back in the 1880s, is... I've never met a real estate agent that got rich as a result of that. And I've never met a broker, and I know thousands of them. I've never met a broker, and I've run one of the biggest brokerages in the entire world. I've never met one that got rich as a result of running a real estate brokerage. It's not that you can't make money. You're just not going to get rich. But you can get rich buying the product, and you can get rich through sponsoring. So this is when you sit there and say, why did we put it together? It was an idea, and this is why when you say EXIT, well, EXIT, exit, to me, means something totally different than it means to everybody else. I extrapolated when I put this together. I took the idea from one industry and put it into another industry. This was extrapolation, okay? So the EX in exit is extrapolation, and the whole formula and the methodology for the payouts is informational technology. So it's extrapolated informational technology. That's what it means to me, okay? A little bit different, but very meaningful. So when you sit there and say, does everybody get it right off the bat? No, because the average person suffers from inhibition. You will succeed to the degree of your inhibitions. And most real estate agents are filled with self-doubt, and they're filled with intrepidation with regard to where their next transaction is going to come from. So we not only put the formula of the 10, 7, and 5 into play, but we also put the affirmation principle into place so they could strengthen themselves up from the inside out. So there's two secret ingredients to exit, is how to strengthen yourself from the inside and make you stronger than you've ever been before, so you can actually do the job. And now focus your mind on sponsor. You're going to take listings to make sales. Otherwise, what are you doing in the business?
Right.
I mean, literally.
Right.
So that's what it's all about. Now, what we've done over 28 years is this. And if you think this is easy, and you should have gone farther than you've gone. No, we've gone through many markets. The first 10 years with any new concept like this, you've got to prove that you can survive. It's as simple as that. We started broke. I never took a bank loan, not one bank loan to make this work. Never had a bank loan, never had a court case. We're the only company in the history of the world in the real estate industry that's never had a court case. You sit there and say, so play clean. Okay, play hard, but play clean. And what we've done is we built a root system that was very, very strong with an incredibly strong head office. Out of 33 people that run our head office, it's a Canadian operation. This is what it is. We're the only Canadian company to ever succeed in the United States of America. No other Canadian company has ever done that. 33 people at head office, 20 of them been there over 20 years. Who's ever done that before? And this is, you buy into wisdom over time when you keep people for a long period of time. And so there's a tremendous cross-section of expertise. What's that for? Build the roots of the company. Build a trunk to the company, a strong trunk. You're building like a redwood tree. Build a trunk. Make the trunk very, very strong. It takes time to do that. And time's the distance between activities, and space is the backdrop for all activities. So you sit there and say, it takes time, so you got to be patiently persistent to make this work. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for the expression of all the branches to come up for enlightenment and everything else, whereby the dawning transpires. Now, the marketplace today, now let's face facts, pretty tough out there. Difficult, more difficult than we've ever seen before. Very confusing for a lot of people and everything else. There's a storm going on in the ocean. There's some sharks in the ocean, and everybody's playing rough. It's perhaps one of the toughest times I've ever seen in, like I say, almost 5 decades of being in the business. I've been working, just under 6 decades myself. Like any marketplace, there's been ups and downs all the way through. Every market goes to the top right-hand corner, but they dip on the way there. I learned that when I traded on the floor of the stock exchange in Toronto. And they taught me that. I was down there for 6 years. The market's heading for the top right-hand corner, but the dips are what you got to be able to handle. The dips. Now we're in a sort of a dipping market right at this particular time, but that doesn't mean there's not daylight out there. And you sit there and say, no, you've got to have the perseverance and the diligence, the competence, the capability, but the quality of the system is where it is. And so you sit there and say, why do I stay in the real estate business? The product kept me here. It's of such value to people raising their kids, the whole thing, what property really means. 90% of the world's wealth based on real estate. The property ownership had tremendous meaning. And then the point of the matter was, how do we deal more effectively with those people? So that literally we become the most popular company in the entire industry. And that's what we're setting out to do.
Well, I want to thank you for coming and stopping by and doing this podcast with me. It means a lot. For 12 years, I have sold a franchise at convention 12 years in a row. There's one right there going to get done in about an hour.
We're all extremely proud of what you're doing. And it's all about leading by example, setting an excellent example. And, you're doing that.
All right. I'd like to thank you, Steve, for coming. Over the next 36 months, folks, I'm going to sell another 200 franchises. And I can tell you right now, the next 3 years is going to be powerful. I'm looking for big things in 2025, but 2026 is probably going to be one of my best years ever. Sure. And I'm going to sell those 200 franchises in 36 months and double this company. And I only got a short room of space for you. So you better be calling me. Look me up at exitsoutheast.com. Call me on my cell phone. I'm personal. I'll come meet you wherever you're at. So let's get this done. And thanks for coming. Thanks for being on my show.
Thumbs up.